What it is? How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about Rugrats in Paris, a Nickelodeon classic, in our newest retro review. We're going to talk about all the things. We're going to talk about unattentive parents, kids out on their own, a theme park themed after a completely different country than it's based in. We're going to talk about all the things. So if you want to hear what we have to say, sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to the first ones to die. It's just that they're so wide. It's just a wide grin. It makes you think of P. Diddy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ones to die. My name is Jonathan. I am here with the lovely Alex and Jerome. How are y'all doing today?
I'm doing good.
I'm good.
A little thrown off by that
Yeah.
P. Diddy comment. Does
I mean, it's true. You ever see when P.
I never really seen.
You seen him smile?
Not really. No, he has the more stoic.
Dave Chappelle was right when he's like it's like a dolphin. It's like dolphin teeth. He just a wide ass smile.
Dolphins don't have like human teeth. If they did, it'd be like creepy. They have like little like spikes almost. I think. I actually don't know anything about dolphin anatomy, but I'm
just joshing. Diddy's fine.
Your grin is still very big. Diddy is okay though.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
My week has been good. It's been okay. Nothing.
How has your week been?
Yeah.
Elaborate.
No, it's been fine. It's just been busy at work, but nothing too extreme. Kind of been tired. We did Comic-Con last weekend, which was for me it was a little weird. Honestly, it was a little off. Was Comic-Con? No, that wasn't even last weekend. That was the weekend before, right? Jesus.
No, it was last weekend.
It was last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, time does not exist for me anymore. It is just a weird, wibbly wobbly thing. I felt it was a little weird because it was in a new building.
Well, it was because I had a few friends who were there from the Milestone Initiative at the tables. Shout out to Greg Burnham and Charles Stewart. But like the thing is that Charles was mentioning that where he's like, I'm not getting really a lot of people coming up. I'm like, it's because attendance is lower this year. And it's mainly because it started like they're selling tickets for Comic-Con in March, like in February, when it happened in August. Half the people that would have came are like still recovering financially to even come to Comic-Con for the next year. So most of them didn't arrive.
It was originally in March, but you also went during Thursday. So Thursday is like the slowest day. When I went
True.
On Saturday. It was one of the busiest days. It was actually a sold out. It was so. Oh, you know what? I talked about it because I was here for the review of Cocaine Bear with Jonathan. You weren't.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I felt like
I was not.
Yeah,
here.
that's why I already felt I was here, of course. And I talked about it on that review, and that's why I was like, this feels like I've already done this. That's why. That is why. That's why. See, I'm not crazy. Well, how's your guys' week been?
I'm about to say, where are you going with that?
I don't really have. I like to stand on for that one.
Jerome, did you see Cocaine Bear? And can we get a quick summary?
At the beginning of
Rugrats, I haven't. Yeah, no, I have not watched it yet. No, I have been.
Did you listen to our recap?
Yes, it was good.
Okay.
Well, not so much the spoiler stuff, but I did listen to your general thoughts. I thought they were interesting. So I'm curious to see like how I feel about the actual movie once I see it. Now I'll do what the audience should do, which is when you listen to one of our reviews, if you haven't seen the movie, listen to the general thoughts, pause it, come back, listen to the rest of the review. But I did take a day trip to Portland with my girlfriend. So we went, had a good time. And that was pretty much my weekend. Like outside of Comic-Con on Thursday. We did dress up. She was Velma and I was Shaggy.
You'll be Black Shaggy now.
Yeah,
like
there was constant
like
jokes. Although I love that people called me Shaggy when they saw me. right next to her, rather than Norville. I was like, okay, good. Everybody is on the same page. Norville isn't a real thing.
I'm hoping it's
his
one
name,
of those.
though.
It is his name, but you know damn well when people think Shaggy, the first thing they think is Shaggy, not Norville.
Is Norville like canonically Shaggy's real name?
Yeah,
For
that's
real.
always been his
Roger.
real name
Norville
in
Shaggy
the original
Roger.
comics.
Don't talk
yeah.
about it
Or,
like
comics,
that's
in the original
common
cartoon.
Don't talk about it like it's like common knowledge or some shit.
Everybody knows
And
that. Who's a huge
Velma
Scooby
is
Doo
Velma
fan?
Dinky.
Dinkley.
Daphne is Dinkley. Daphne is
Daphne
what's her last
Dinkley?
name?
No, Daphne. I want to say Rollins, but I feel like that's wrong.
Rollins. That sounds like a black name.
Yeah, no. Daphne's white and then apparently not Indian.
What
What's
is
Fred?
Daphne's real name? Fred's name is Fred Rogers. No, I'm thinking Mr. Rogers. That's Mr. Rogers' real
So
name.
you get one Scooby Doo name now, and you think you know them all.
Daphne
Shaggy's
Blake. That's her
Daphne
name.
Blake.
That's her name. And then Fred Sanford. No,
Fred
all
Jones.
the Fred Jones. There we go. And Scooby's name is Scoobert Dooby Doo.
Oh yeah,
Scoobert.
Yes.
And that is canon.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Speaking of old cartoons, we're gonna do a retro review of Rugrats in Paris,
Wait,
the
we didn't
movie.
get my thoughts.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, that's right. No, we didn't
Or
do
my,
that.
Yeah.
That's
my
right.
week.
My bad.
Next time
My
I'm
bad.
going first, okay?
Clearly, he's been trying to take over your cutaways or your transitions.
What do you mean trying to? I already have. All right, the past few weeks has been all me, except for Cocaine Bear, but that's by default.
And he wasn't here the episode
Anyway,
before
my
that.
week was good.
Yeah, how you doing?
Okay. Good. All right. Now, Jerome, get to it.
You don't have anything to report? You don't have anything you're up to?
The Oscars of this weekend. Don't forget to set your clocks forward this weekend, okay? Because it's daylight savings.
That's true.
Unless you live in Arizona, then it's not.
Speaking of the Oscars, Chris Rock had a lot to say. I watched the special. By the by, he had a lot to say.
And check out Madame Tussauds Hollywood, the new Lady Gaga wax figure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Looks great.
Yo, they're saying they're beefing up security this year for the Oscars just in case, so that what happened with Will Smith doesn't happen. I just want to see like someone try it just to see if they get tackled or something off the stage.
I think people need to chill the fuck out. It was a slap. Everybody walked away fine.
You gonna drop
No,
the
they
F-bomb
didn't.
on
Chris
a
Rock
Rugrats
didn't walk away
podcast?
fine. The man's literally had his face hurting because he got smacked in the face. What are you
The
talking
only
about?
thing hurting is his pride. He's fine.
Alex, I
See?
like how you've dropped the F-bomb on a Rugrats podcast.
I did not even.
Jonathan, this is not a children's show. For the last time, audience, this is not a children's show. We are going
Then why
to
do you
use explicit.
Then why do you label it explicit?
Because
That's
it's
the
not a
real-
children's show. That's why I label it explicit.
I put it as it's not for kids, but I don't write it as explicit on YouTube, so children can still access it. And what other children should access? Rugrats in Paris. Oh, I got it.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Rugrats
Yes.
in Paris, the movie.
If you're a
colon,
child and you're
the
listening
movie.
to this episode, then we welcome you. Okay. If your
I mean, they're
parents are okay
welcome,
with
but
bad
just
words-
just know that you should probably not tell your parents you're listening to this because they may be like, this is
I'm
a little
sorry.
too
Are you
adult for
encouraging children to lie to their parents?
Listen, children lie all the time. They need to get better at it so that they can be proper adults when they grow up. You know what I mean? Lying is the way. How you think Batman and all the other superheroes get over, all right? They have secret identities. They lie all the time. So if Superman is okay to lie, then my future children and future children in general are okay to lie, all right? Everyone's lying out here. It's a good thing.
When you have a child, I want you to know that I will absolutely have the sample to give to them. that those words will guarantee bite you in the ass. So, and yes, I just dropped another curse word. Rugrats in Paris. It was released November
Rugrats in
17th, right?
Yes, 2000, the year 2000, the turn of the century. Rugrats in
Yep.
Paris, if you did not know already, it's the second theatrical film, based on the television show Rugrats, the classic Nickelodeon program. In the synopsis, while on a family vacation in Paris, the Rugrats attempt to help Chucky find a new mom while stopping his dad from marrying a conniving businesswoman who hates kids. Okay, some of the voice cast includes the main cast from the show: Christine Cavanaugh, E.G. Daily, Cheryl Chase, Kathy Susie, Tara Strong. But anyway,
Wait, what? Wait, what are you looking at?
no, because Wikipedia lists her as Tara Sharondoff, which was apparently her.
That
maiden
may
name.
have been her. That may be her legal name, but her stage name is Tara Strong.
No, I think it's her maiden name because it says.
Or is that her maiden
when
name? Okay.
Yeah, when I click on the article, it says Nee Sharondoff.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Why
are you looking at Wikipedia? IMDb exists.
Because Wikipedia is right. I don't have to scroll on Wikipedia. Okay, I can just see the whole cast right here. Diane Kwan, Jack Riley, Melanie Chartoff, Michael Bell, Julia Cato, Tress McNeil, and Phil Proctor. Right off the bat, I loved this movie as a kid. This was
also, audience, we are going to spoil this movie, so if you haven't seen Rugrats in Paris, prepare to be spoiled, and but still just watch it anyway, so you can be fully part of the conversation. You know exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly.
But just to give you a heads up, because for our retro reviews, we do not hold back at any point.
Exactly. I grew up on this movie. I remember having the VHS of this film. I watched it all the time.
Was it orange? Because I remember all the Nickelodeon's movies being orange.
It was. Yeah, and I'm surprised I didn't break the dang thing because I watched it so many times.
I had that movie too. I had all the Rugrats movies, I think, as well.
I did not, but I watched this on TV when it finally came out on TV because I did not watch this in theaters. Yeah, but it's good though. I really like. I'm impressed on how much the animation holds up.
Yeah, the animation, like that was. I remember as a kid, like the animation being one of my favorite things about the show, and especially in the movie. Whenever a cartoon gets turned into a movie, the animation is always amped up a little bit because of they have a bigger budget. Especially if it's getting released theatrically, they always want to do bigger things with it. So it always looks slightly different, just more like high quality. But the animation was really good.
They did the same thing for the Powerpuff Girls movie too, where it's like it was the same animation, but just a lot more high definition.
I didn't know there was a Powerpuff Girls movie.
Did not do well.
It's on HBO Max.
I still love it.
I'll give it a shot. It reminded me of actually, I was gonna say that it reminded me a little bit of Bob's Burgers, not in like the context of the story, but the context of the animation, because it's like when the cartoons develop into movies, they understand shadowing a little more, and the perception of like the light hitting a character, and that's just what I kept seeing. I was like, oh yeah, now like certain areas of the face are like overshadowed now, and I was like, it makes it look more 3D or 3-dimensional, and that's just what I kept thinking.
It's because they have more time to do it than because with the when you're doing animated show, you only have so much time to put out these episodes and get it released, so they often go for less like shading and lighting work and instead just focus on modeling and just making sure all the motion and everything looks good. But with a movie, it's like you got all the time in the world to work on it. So, well, not all the time.
You have a higher budget that allows you more people to do this
higher budget.
Yeah, like to get it all done and make sure it all looks crisp. Especially the 3D animation. The 3D animation looked really good and blended in real well. It's that perfect blend of like that cell shaded animation. So the 3D stuff like the Reptar robot and like when Chucky's on the plane and you see the clouds and stuff, like it all blends super well with the 2D characters. And so all of it just flows. But I think it's also because some of the frames aren't 3D. Some of them are 2D as well. So I'm like, this is the best mix of the two. The way to mix it and make it look clean and crisp and look right. So they did a great job. Fantastic job with the animation.
Did anybody remember how much, originally before watching this movie, how much of Japanese culture was infused into Rugrats in Paris?
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember
yes.
thinking that this was Rugrats in Tokyo because it
Right.
spends so much time with Japanese culture, but it's in Paris.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, I remember, so it's called Rugrats in Paris, but I remember a lot of it taking place in Tokyo, but it didn't take place in Tokyo. It took place in Paris in a Tokyo themed theme park. It's just like, yeah, it's like.
See, I remember the scene where Angelica's singing that song in like the Tokyo restaurant, and then I think that was kind of it, other than like a few other things. But I didn't recall as much as the Japanese influence in this film. They even had like ninjas in here for no reason.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Ninjas,
the
sumo
cigars
wrestlers.
that are
Yeah.
ninjas, and I was like, what
And
the
they had
Why
like
are they ninjas?
sumo wrestlers, and it's like,
Well, because
That
it's a movie about babies, why would we not have sumos, which are often called people who know nothing about sumo wrestling are like, they look like giant babies. Ha ha ha. Which, it's like it's a kid's cartoon, so yeah, that's the level of jokes in there.
That whole, speaking of the ninjas, that whole Chucky kung fu fight sequence.
Yo,
That
that
was-
was dope though, especially the song. I was like,
Uh-huh.
hell yeah, this song slaps. Can we just have a kung fu Chucky show? Just him with like
Right.
6-pack abs out here doing karate on Chinese dragons.
all the music. I forgot how good all the music was in this film.
Especially that Reptar song with the
yeah.
princess. I was like, this is really good. This is really good.
Mark Mothersbaugh, he really like put his foot in Rugrats, and I was just watching something the other day, and it said Mark Mothersbaugh did the music. So anytime he's involved, it's always gonna be something good, and he's still working to this day.
I didn't like the song "I Want a Mom That Will Last Forever." I thought it
That
was
song always.
See, I didn't get sad. I was like, "A mom that'll last forever" sounds. That the wording sounded weird to me. But I understood it. But in my adult head, I was just thinking, "Oh, you don't want a mom that expires." That's what my brain went to. Which I'm like, that sounds
'cause that's
horrible in my head.
That's the song they play at the wedding, right? In the beginning.
No,
And then at the
No,
end.
it's a different song. That's the song they play on when he's on the plane looking out in the window.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
but
That song at the beginning, and they also play it at the end. Those 3 moments, I always was sad as a kid.
I was laughing a little bit at the beginning scene, not because it was like, it was sad and it made my heart twinge, but they had Casey Kasem.
Yeah.
And when I heard his voice, I was like, so many memories flew back. Like, I was even seeing like old Saved by the Bell episodes in my head with Casey Kasem. And I was like, oh man.
Speaking of the beginning, this is a thing where I'm like, is this for the adults? Because I'm like, when it becomes Godfather, I was like, I'm sorry, do you think kids know what this is? Is this this has to be for the parents?
Well, yeah, I
Because
mean,
there's no way kids have seen Godfather. I mean, I love the joke. I love the way they tie it in, where it's like Angelica's parents are like, I can't believe she watched that movie. And I'm like, oh, okay, so they're playing Godfather because she watched Godfather, which I love the idea that the Godfather movie series exists in the Rugrats world. But still, I'm like, for this, it's just a weird opening to me. Because it doesn't really play into the rest of the movie as much as just a really fun thing to like start the movie in of like, hey, wouldn't it be funny to see Rugrats as the Godfather?
I don't know. I feel like back then, I probably still now, parents were allowing their kids to watch like a lot more shit they shouldn't have been.
Not Godfather though. Like what's like a action movie is one thing. Godfather, first of all, that's a long movie. And secondly, most kids probably find that pretty boring for a lot of it because adults find it pretty boring for a lot of it. Like, people who
That's
aren't
fair.
into film.
I don't know. Mob Boss, I could see Angelica liking that line of work. So, like, yeah, she could be into that. But yeah, no, Casey Kasem kind of threw me off, and then I was like, kind of like, oh my god, and your body's still not. Nobody knows where your body is still, man. For Casey Kasem case. But that first scene was like a little sad, and the way they had him like standing there with his like little feet, or like I was like, I do feel bad. I do feel bad.
I do love that his dad is like, because I would say Charles gets a lot of shine, like, because Chucky's dad doesn't really get a lot of shine in the show
because he's
it's
annoying.
Really about the pickles. Well, it's just also the show's mostly about, the Rugrats show anyway, is mostly about the Pickles family. So to see Chucky's dad get a lot more shine, which is a bold move too, because the first movie is dealing with Dill and, the Pickles family. This movie is more Chucky centric. I mean, the other characters are there, but they're not really the focus as much as it's like Chucky's dad and Chucky in general are like the more or less the main characters, which I think is really cool and interesting. Although I thought it was funny when like Chucky and Tommy are sleeping in the bed and Chucky's like, hey Tommy, like, how do you ever be brave? And I love that Tommy is so asleep. He's just like, man, look, I'm trying to give you pointers, but I'm tired. Okay, I live a baby's life. We sleep like a lot. You know this. Leave me alone. He just turns over.
You woke him up during nap time too. He woke him up during nap time too. So he's like, come on, man. I'm just trying to sleep.
I understand you got problems, but this can wait for tomorrow, okay?
I remember also when I watched this as a kid being severely disappointed, as I was today when I watched it, of the lack of Susie airtime. The fact that she only had 3 lines in the whole movie.
To be fair, Susie was always like
available.
She was like an in and out character. She was like an in and out character even in the show too. Like Susie exists, but she's not like a main character. So I think that was what their thought pattern was. Like Susie's not really a main character. We're not really gonna have her around.
On vacation with Susie.
Like, she'll be there for the first scene. Yeah, they don't like Susie's parents are not their friends. she's just a kid in the neighborhood. You know how it is. There was like the kids you hung out with, and then there's the kid that's in the neighborhood, so you invite him sometimes to come over. That's Susie.
I loved how she shaded her Angelica in French, though.
For real. Susie is like, look, these other kids might put up with your crap, but not me. I know you out here fronting. All right, I'm the real deal. You wish you could be as cool as Susie.
Let's talk about how quickly Chucky's dad was willing to marry this strange woman. And possibly uproot his life too, from like their town to like Paris.
Yes, and then how quickly he fell in love with Kira too, because like I remember it being like a Chucky Kira love story, but no, this was Chaz getting duped the whole time. And then at the end, he just so happens to find
I do remember
love.
Kira being more present in this movie than she is.
And notice actually ever talked about how Kira helped her boss. She had a change of heart at the end. Cool. Couldn't go through with it. But the entire time you were helping manipulate this single father to help your career. That's messed up.
I don't think it's more so help her career as much as it's like, I feel like this woman is going to kill me.
All she did,
like if I don't help her. So
when she tried to turn her back, all she did was stop the car and kick her out. She didn't even push her out of a moving car.
Like, I have a child to think about. I'm not trying to die behind this man I don't know.
Until she was.
I mean, even then though, she's just like, I don't know. I think it just suffers from that thing of it's a kid's movie, so we got to move fast. All right. This is an hour and 18 minutes we got to get through.
I get that. But as an adult now, Kira was manipulative. She played Chucky's dad.
I don't think Kira was manipulative. I think it's just more Kira didn't have a spine, just like Chaz. And then she finally grew,
feeding, like notes into her boss's ear.
Yeah, because she was spineless. That's
man,
why they work together.
That's a manipulation. Spineless or not.
That's manipulation. It's called not having a backbone. And when she developed one, notice she stood up. She
still
and
helped manipulate him. You can try to dress it how you want. She's still playing
all
part.
I'm saying is
and then
there's
she
a
had the
reason
nerve
those
to
two
be
are
like,
together. It's
oh
they
no,
both,
I can't do it.
They're both weak.
My poor
but
heart,
together they
this
strong.
poor child. And be like, oh no, No, you are the one who instigated this. You helped all of this.
No, she didn't. She only helped him one date, not all of it. Now, hold on. Let's.
You're really telling me that she didn't help plan this wedding? That
No,
Coco could
she
not
did
have
not
done
help
it.
plan the wedding. Because Coco, why would she hire Kira to do that? She has so much money, she could easily plan it herself.
Because Kira did everything. If anything, Kira is the one who hired the wedding planner, picked out the decor, and somehow locked the.
Also, you don't know that, all right? This is strict speculation. Your Honor, this is speculation. I wanted to have this removed. Like, I feel like this case should be removed completely and call for a mistrial of Kira. What's her name? What's her last
Watanabe?
name? Yeah, Kira Watanabe. All right. My client is not guilty, Your Honor. And I just want it to be on the record that she had no knowledge of the wedding. And not only that, but
she
at
was
the end,
in the
she
car
did stand back up.
going towards the wedding.
As a closing statement, I just want to say that people, look into your hearts, all right? And if you look into them, you can see that Kira Watanabe is innocent. I rest my case. Thank you very much. No more witnesses, Your Honor.
Try to say what you want. She was there from the beginning to the cry to the church. Everywhere in between.
Listen, the gavel's been swung. Court is adjourned. Kira's free.
Hashtag free Kira.
Hashtag free Kira.
And what we learned from watching All Grown Up is that they're still happy and together. And
my favorite All Grown Up episode is the episode where Kimmy meets other Asian kids and Chucky is upset because she doesn't want to hang out with him and his friend group anymore. And she just can't recognize the idea of like, yeah, it's because those are other Asian kids and she's Asian. She wants to hang out with people that look like her and share her experience. White boy, calm it down.
Man, All Grown Up was ahead of its time. We need like them in college or something. Or like as adults.
I think also, as adults it would disturb me because then they would become like their parents and be like, oh man, this is sad now. I did like how they made Tommy a filmmaker. Or he wanted to be a filmmaker All Grown Up.
I was gonna say, do you all notice that this is another case of, just like in Space Jam: A New Legacy, a case of why are you building such advanced technology for children's entertainment? Because Stu has literally designed a mechanized robot that is very capable of being used for battle. The way it's crashing through buildings and stuff, it's got jet propulsion. What could it possibly need jet propulsion off of the tail for in a show?
Okay.
It literally partially destroyed the city of Paris.
Let's all remember, this was before 2001. So you could buy jet fuel off online and it was perfectly okay. Nobody thought it was that weird.
It's not the fact that it needs jet fuel. It's the fact that why would you build it? All you need it to do is literally just be a mechanized robot for this opera, for a kid's theme park. That's it. That's all it does. That's its sole purpose. And yet this thing is easily capable, and it runs off of God knows what, to be able to leave the park if you wanted to. There's like no fencing. There's no wires attached to it. Nothing. If you wanted to take Reptar for a joyride real quick, you could easily do that. No problem.
Which they did.
They did. Exactly.
Right.
I had forgotten the reason they went to... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I had forgotten the reason they all went to Paris. I thought it was just a vacation. Because I was like, why else would you go with, like, 3 other families to Paris? That's a vacation, right? I didn't know Sue was summoned there for work. And, like, everybody was just like, yeah, let's all go. The man barely has a job. And one time he has, like, a legit contract with a huge corporation. Y'all think it's like, oh, it's family fun time.
I mean...
And then the kids, and then they can't keep control of the kids, so that's jeopardizing his job even more.
Here's my thing, though. They should be able to, because I'm like, what are the other adults doing? Like, they leave Charles to babysit for a good chunk of this movie, and I'm like, I'm sorry, is nobody else available? Well, like, especially because, like, okay, y'all know Chaz is going on a date. Nobody else can watch the kids? Nobody else is available on this vacation where y'all are doing not a goddamn thing.
They were
not
all
working.
they were
You're
all
not
together
busy.
too. They were all hanging out together without Chaz because they were like
That's what
having
I'm
couple
saying.
time.
I'm like, nobody can spare some time to just watch these kids.
And how did what's it called, Euro Reptar Land? How did they find Stu in the first place? How did they contract him for this job in the first place? Because as far as I know from the series, he's a failed inventor. Like he's not successful. So
listen, even a squirrel gets a nut every now and again. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like Stu had to have some success. Granted, this is a monumental comparison of success compared to what he normally does on the show, which is build toys, as opposed to building like Voltron robots. So, you know, it's a much bigger leap. But at the same time, but although it does beg the question why after this, because all of this is canon, by the way. Because after this, the show in the Rugrats show, when they brought back the new season after this, Kimmy and Kira are characters. Like they become a part of the show. So I'm like, Stu, I feel like your talents are being wasted, my guy. I mean, you're building them for a theme park, but imagine building a robot for construction purposes or for battle or something. I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's a future in that. People are going to want robotics.
They didn't know how important robotics were going to be just yet. So apparently he originally designed the Reptar robot that was used in the park stage show. So he had designed it. I guess no wonder it failed. They needed him to come fix it.
No. To be fair, it only failed because they didn't follow his instructions. He told them, like on the schematics, it specifically asked for paper clips and rubber bands. And they thought they were better than that. They were like, nah, we're going to use real tools. And guess what happened? It fails because you denied the genius that is Stu Pickles.
I will argue
this man's MacGyver of toys.
About Stu Pickles. I'm moving on from Stu Pickles. This movie was a straight trip. It was so early 2000s and 90s style going on that like everything was just a head rush when I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that age.
I remember this is the movie that first set off Who Let the Dogs Out. Like
I think it was, yeah.
This is where it was featured, and like after this, Who Let the Dogs Out became really big as a song.
I would say Angelica's whole inclusion in this is also interesting. Because she's been conniving before, but this is on a whole other level. She's out here with machinations and plan.
Actually, no. There was an episode I recently saw like on TikTok. It was super funny. The parents were trying to talk to Angelica, and her mom's trying to have a discussion with her, and Angelica's like, hold on. And she presses like the record button on her little play toy, and she's like, remember, mommy, you're being recorded and everything can be used against you. And the mom literally goes like this to her and goes, and like walks back to her husband. She's like, she's good. She's good. She's like, I don't know what I can do. And I was like, shit, what are they teaching this child?
Jeez.
At least Angelica's parents, though, like, feel like they are attentive to Angelica. Phil and Lil's parents could give two shits less, like, about their kid. Because I'm like, they are eating goo out of their diaper. First of all, I know they've been changed at some point. So I know you've seen the goo. And you still, like, there's no way that they are just allowing them to eat this goo. Are you sure they've been changed? Because
literally no parents have been around for hours on end.
Well, here's the thing. It's like they collected that goo literally the day before. So there's no way they have not seen the goo in their diapers. And secondly, the fact that they are using it to store cookies and stuff and eating it. And I'm like, for all we know, this could be chemical product. It's being used in a theme park and it's so sticky, like the ninjas get caught in it because it's like almost like a full-on adhesive.
Yeah.
They also carry Lil's throw-up bag around with them.
Yeah.
Used.
Oh. Yeah. Some of those scenes I was like making like these sounds at it because they like gross me. I forget how gross Rugrats was into watching this because they're constantly sticking their fingers up their nose. They're like,
or just naked. Sometimes Tommy's diaper falls off every now and again, to which I'm like, there are diapers that can fit this child. There's no reason.
And the way they like dig their hands into their diapers like it's a full on purse.
Like a
They're
pocket.
like,
Yeah.
they're like, hold on, it's in here somewhere. They're like, no, this isn't it. Being like, boy, I saw you fall 10 feet from the air and land on your butt. That screwdriver would have pierced your stomach.
There were moments where I could, like growing up, I could see myself in the Rugrats. Now I see myself in the adults, not in the neglectful side, but in
Just
the
the
side
level
where
of
it's,
neglect.
right, but in the side where the babies are making all these messes. They're in the koi pond. They're making a mess of the room. They're in the bathroom, just
They
spraying
just
water
leave,
everywhere.
go into first
They're-
class. Nobody checks. Like nobody's like stops the babies from going to first class on an airplane.
Again, this was in 2000. It was fine. Nobody cared in 2000.
Well, just the fact that like even going through TSA when the babies are on the carousel going through the X-ray, I'm like, there's no way. Even in the 2000s, the TSA would have shut that down immediately. The second those babies got on the tread or whatever, they would not have been about it. They would have been like, excuse me, ma'am or sir, can y'all get y'all's kids, please?
The babies literally got off a ride for a solid probably like 10 minutes. And
True.
Chaz never even noticed.
Chaz never noticed. They had
I mean-
time to literally go to another ride all the way across the entire park and come back. And Chaz is still there like, oh, look, the babies. All right, cool.
At least he still had Dill. I mean, the newborn.
That's because Dill's strapped in. He can't leave.
That's fair. I like how
He would if he could.
Going back to All Grown Up real quick. I love how weird they made Dill.
Yeah.
How Dill's
I
just
mean,
like
it makes sense.
He
He's
was
a
like
weird
he
baby.
was like the screw up
so.
kid.
yeah, they're like he's been dropped on his head. It's fine. We still love him as him. And it's like okay. All right, Dill's that kid. Got it.
Did you guys know that Drew and Chaz are voiced by the same actor?
Oh, interesting. Well, Phil and Lil are also like. There's a lot of people who do multiple different voices because Phil and Lil are also
Yeah.
played by the same actor.
Phil,
as
Lil,
well
and their
as-
mom.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
same.
she's all of them.
I could see that. Drew doesn't speak ever, really.
He does sometimes when it's like him.
Not
and
enough
Stu,
where if you,
that
like-
brotherly.
Yeah, but like even still, you could probably not even like do a Family Guy style where it's the same voice actor for everything and everybody can hear it, but like nobody cares. For
I
Drew
honestly
and for-
forget that Angelica is cousins though with Tommy and Dill. Until this movie when they're like, yeah, it's like great, Dad, we're so happy for you. I was like, oh yeah, that's right, they are brothers. I forgot. I'm like, I thought I just keep thinking Stu is the only child.
Well, I mean, his brother's kind of a dick, so I feel like Drew Pickles is. But yeah, I didn't know that like the twins and the mom were voiced by the same woman. Learning that
Mhm.
now.
Yeah,
I could
Kathy is it Sochi or Sauchi or Saucy?
Kath Susie? I don't know.
I can't. I don't know.
Well, they turned her into a lesbian for the
The reboot,
Revival.
right? Yeah.
mhm.
Which makes
Yeah.
10 times more sense.
I remember that was that was a thing that a lot of people were that was a news thing when they were talking about the revival when it came out, was like, and Phil and Lil's mom is gay, and everyone and there was the regular what, they're changing stuff, and I'm like, I'm sorry, did you give a shit about her husband? Because I didn't. Like, he's barely in the show, he's barely
Yeah,
a character.
Howard, now Howard never spoke.
Right, you want
Howard
to talk about
never
characters
spoke.
that don't exist?
That man was a neglectful husband and father. He was just off somewhere. We don't know what he did. We don't even know his
In
job.
this movie though, Beth was like, she was all about it. She was that friend who's just like, girl, like, listen, if you need to get over somebody, maybe you just need to get under somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how she was with Chaz. She's just like, look, Chaz. I'm like, because Dee Dee was the only real friend who was like, Chaz, I don't know. I mean, you just met this lady. I don't know if you should be like marrying her immediately. Beth was like, shoot, girl, hey, Chaz, get you some, okay? Don't listen to her.
I just remember saying that because I thought this. I was like, "How long have you guys been in Paris for?" Honestly, it's gotta only be a couple days. Stu barely went to fix this mechanical thing, and I doubt they're paying for like over a month for y'all to be hanging out in Paris.
It seemed like it took him a day to fix it because the only scene we get is him being like, "Y'all should use paper clips and rubber bands," and then the next time we see this reptile robot, they're using it.
Yeah,
so it has to have took like a day or a day and a half to fix it and rebuild it.
Let's say it's like a week. You have a week trip to fix this thing, and then he does it in 2 days. That means the wedding takes place during this end week trip. And she's all about like, yeah, go ahead, marry her. Crazy kids in love. Like, no. It has not even been a full week. 7 days has not passed. And suddenly y'all in Notre Dame trying to get married. And then she just disrespects Notre Dame too.
Yeah, she's like, you've seen one church, you've seen them all. And meanwhile, all the Parisian fans that were watching Rugrats in Paris are just like, this mother... You know what? I knew I shouldn't have watched this movie.
I bet she would appreciate it back then because it's gone now. Wow.
Yeah, well, it's still partially there. I think they're rebuilding right now.
Yeah, but original section, ironically, a hall that held the saints of health and peace was this hall that burned down completely.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to see it before it burned down. Granted, I saw it when I was 13, so the memories are a little foggy. I do have pictures somewhere of it, just like when I saw Notre Dame. It was beautiful.
Guess who's also in this movie?
Who?
Tim Curry.
What?
That's who?
Where?
He plays one of the sumo singers.
Of course he does.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, now that I'm listening to the voice, I can see that. The sumo singers were doing a good job too. They were doing the damn thing.
Also, Jerome, you probably know who this is. Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah, he's done a lot of voice work. The
Mortal
main
Kombat.
thing I always know him from, Mortal Kombat, and then he's done Joker in the Batman cartoon that came out in the 2000s around that same time. What'd you say his name was?
Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah, Kevin Michael Richardson is a lot of stuff because he just has
Known
such
for
an
his
iconic voice.
Yeah, known for his distinctly deep voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff, a lot of cartoons and movies.
I love when big names come into like cartoons like that. Where you're like, it's not that important. It's just a Rugrats movie, and then you have like these really well-known actors, that are just like Debbie Reynolds was in there too.
Mm-hmm.
She was in that.
Yeah, Kevin Michael Richardson is a huge voice actor. Like he's up there with like the Steve Blooms and the D. Bradley Bakers and stuff like that. Tara Strong, he's up there with them, like being in just tons of cartoons.
Well, like him and like Debbie Reynolds and Tim Curry, they have like these little bit scenes, and it's like, why are you in this for 5 minutes? Like you, especially in the early 2000s, you all are like major stars right now.
Right.
You just hopped into
I didn't realize that because Debbie Reynolds,
they probably have kids,
and
they're like, I know Rugrats.
Yeah, well, Debbie Reynolds' character Lulu, because that was the wedding of the grandpa and Lulu, and she stays on the show just like Kimmy and Kira. She stays on the show after.
Yeah, but she just appears in and out.
Right. Yeah, I don't remember her character that much.
I mean, same thing with Kira. Kira was like in the show, but I don't know if she like was like a prominent character.
Well, she became
Kimmy became a prominent character.
Well, because she became a parent, she can't be existing in this world.
That's true.
This is like, you know what? Euphoria becomes more believable now. Because clearly nobody was watching the babies. So as they get to high school, nobody's there either.
That would be a great canon. It's like Rugrats is the animated part of the Euphoria world. This is like when they were babies, but it takes place in the same universe. And Euphoria is just the adult version of Rugrats, like unattentive parents, kids that are off on adventures.
Euphoria is the live action version of Rugrats, all grown up.
I like to see a cartoon version of Euphoria.
On the DVD box set, when they sell Euphoria, the first ones to die quote, Euphoria is the adult live action version of Rugrats. That's our quote on the box.
There we go.
We also have to shout out Susan Sarandon as Coco.
Yeah, as Coco. She was great. She's a great villain.
For real. And John
giving
Lithgow.
off Cruella de Vil vibes.
Mm-hmm. And John Lithgow as Jean-Claude.
I didn't know
but
that
yeah,
was his
I thought
voice.
Coco was a great
I
villain.
recognize it.
She was
a good
fantastic
villain. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially for the Rugrats, like that is the type of villain you would use. It's just all you need is a lady who hates kids. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Addams Family did it. That's how the Addams Family got away with what's that lady who tried to marry Uncle Fester?
She didn't necessarily hate kids. She just wanted the whole family gone.
I mean, then again, the Addams Family is a little different. Rugrats, those are just normal kids. They're a little adventurous and get into trouble. But I feel like if there was one attentive parent, they'd be fine. But the Addams Family kids, those are murderers soon to be. Like they're
but
easily
the Addams
going
Family
to be monsters.
had attentive parents. They were very attentive. They were there for every
That's
school
true.
thing. They encouraged their extracurricular activities, even
That's
including
true.
murder
Yeah.
and some torture.
Yeah, the Rugrats parents could learn a thing or two from the Addams Family.
Just listen to your kids. Your son has a weapon on him at all times, ready to go. Like, that's a little concerning. You should be aware what your son's carrying in his diaper.
The
What if
fact
it
that
was
they carry anything's in their diaper is a problem. First of all, they could get diaper rash. But secondly, like that's bad. It means they're just like you're letting them just pick up stuff off the floor. But I guess it's better than them eating it, like Phil and Lil. They're the kids who eat everything off the floor.
Oh.
What if there was an episode of Rugrats where the kids got picked up by CPS? now we get into Euphoria territory.
Definitely.
Never know what's really going on.
If there was an episode where the characters got picked up by CPS, that'd be so funny.
Be like, what? Your kids were in the street. Where are your children now? Can you answer that question? They're in the playpen. Oh no, the playpen's been open.
Do you have have you childproofed everything in this place? You could do that? Oh no. Okay. Well,
especially with how that mom, the mom always kept reading Dr. Lipschitz, books. None of his books ever talked about
learning
childproof.
a damn thing.
They never talked about like childproofing your house, making sure your kid doesn't go down the stairs. It was all just.
And they got that big old house too. They got money. They can put barriers in place.
What did the mom do?
Put childproof doorknobs so like the kids can't open them.
The mom was I remember there was an episode I think in the first season where she was like a professor or like an assistant professor or something like that. She worked at a college. There's an episode where she takes Tommy to a college, and surprise, surprise, he gets lost in the college because she's working.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that, and I remember like the kids picking him up, being like, "Oh, this is Mrs. Pickle's mom, Mrs. Pickle's son."
Right.
They kind of just take him on an adventure, and she is not bothered. None of these parents are ever bothered by their children being gone. For the fact of the matter that this man was willing to get married, quote unquote, for him and his child, because they felt like it was, and not have the child at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I feel like
that's what I'm saying. Chaz put up a little bit of a fight. It was just like, he's like, no, we can't get married without Chucky. She's like, come on, boy, let's get married. Okay. like that's it. You ain't got enough fight in you. And also, none of the other parents are going to object and be like, no, I need to know where my child is. So until that happens, we are not starting this wedding.
Yeah, none of them were bothered. None of them concerned. How are you going to get married without your own son? And be like, then meet your new mom. And it's like, I was not consulted with this.
You know what's telling is I looked up the Wikipedia article for just Rugrats, the show in general. And I'm looking at there's a nice still here that shows all the kids and their respective parents. I don't know what Susie. I just realized I have never seen Susie's parents until now. This is the first time I've ever seen those characters.
I've seen the mom, but I don't think I know what the dad looks like.
He was the.
Did he have a mustache?
He worked for the.
No, but he has
he worked for the Dummy Bears. He was like a writer for the Dummy Bears.
Or does he have a mustache? Is that a mustache? I can't tell.
Yeah, I think it's
a small picture.
But the dad was like a writer for the Dummy Bears.
The Dummy Bears?
Yeah, that was like their version of the Teletubbies.
Isn't that like? Oh no, he
Or the
does have a
Care Bears,
mustache.
sorry.
He has like a line mustache going on.
Is that? Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
Where
I
you're
see
looking
it.
are his racistly drawn large lips.
Oh, those are his lips. Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's better than her mom, who looks like Aunt Jemima in this picture, out here selling syrup. So, I love that Kimmy and Kira though are added to this picture.
So is
That's nice.
Lou's wife.
Yeah, Lulu. Yeah.
Lulu. And there's also something telling about how this generation before us raised their children. The grandfather is holding the baby, not the parents.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's almost like the parents shoved off
But don't
responsibility
give him
again.
no credit either. He lost the kids on occasion too.
I do like the photo.
But at least he gets the excuse of he's old. All right, his job is done. He's just there to hang out with the kids. He's not there to raise them. That's the parents' job.
See the photo. Who's that girl? By Reptar
With the pink hair?
Yeah.
I have no clue who that is. I really don't. Yeah, I have no clue.
I think she's in the newer seasons. Like newer as in later.
Yeah.
I can do this surprisingly well. Do they have Susie's? They don't have Susie's brothers on there.
Yeah, because didn't she have a lot of brothers and sisters?
She had like 2 brothers and a sister, I think. She thinks she came from a family of 4. They even got Angelica's cat on there. I was able to do that. I'm really impressed.
I forgot Angelica had a cat.
It looked just like her. I'm just more impressed.
So I'm reading this synopsis for Rugrats. It says in the series, babies talk to each other whenever adults are either not around or not paying attention. The way that is written, though, it makes it seem like they can understand them, which I'm like, they can't. That's the point. Is they can talk whenever they feel like. It's just the parents don't understand them.
Right. That's what
they're babies.
Right. That's what I figured. I figured that what we're hearing them say is their baby translated from like their baby talk that they're saying.
Right. You know? And only Angelica and Susie are the only 2 who know what they're saying because they're closer to that age.
Right. But they can also talk. Angelica and Susie can talk with the adults.
Was there ever an episode where the dog could talk to the baby Dill?
No, but that was in the movie, and he was played by Bruce Willis.
Interesting.
In the first Rugrats movie, Spike was voiced by Bruce Willis, and there was like a scene where he could talk.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I remembered something like I have to see it again. But I God, tickle up my nose. I remember something like that, and I was trying to remember. I was like, okay, so the newborn can talk to the dog. There's a whole language there. The babies can talk to each other and then communicate with Angelica and Susie, but Susie and Angelica can also communicate with the adults.
Also, I just looked at the cast. I haven't seen the first Rugrats movie in like a long time. I don't think I had that one on VHS.
Same. I haven't seen it.
But I'm just looking at the cast list for the original Rugrats movie. You have all the original people that we had in this movie. You also have David Spade, Whoopi Goldberg, Tim Curry, Busta Rhymes, Margaret Cho,
Busta Rhymes,
Lenny Kravitz, Lou Rawls.
Again, all of them have kids, I'm sure, so all of them are just like, yeah, I'll do Rugrats. Why not?
Like, yeah, but like that's a star-studded cast there.
I mean, it's the same thing with Proud Family. Have you seen the like cast list of people who have been on the Proud Family? It's a very star-studded list of people who have been on both the movies and just the regular show.
Even the reboot of Proud Family has so many guest stars. One of the most recent episodes I watched, they have Maury Povich on an episode because in the episode Puff the dog, he's accused by the Boulevardes family of having the babies of their dog. And so they go to Maury to figure out.
Only the Proud Family would make an episode like this. Only the Proud Family. They're the only show.
I love it. When was the Rugrats movie released?
The original one was
probably 98, right?
Yep.
Or 99?
98. 2 years.
Okay.
I
prior.
was 7 years old. I was a
Wow.
baby.
I was 3.
It was 4.
So I actually would have been like more or less the age of Rugrats.
You were there.
At the time.
How old is Angelica? Would I have been Angelica's age?
Angelica, I think, is supposed to be like 4 or 5, right?
Yeah.
No, I think she's 3. Chucky's 2, and all the rest of the babies are 1.
Would that be kindergarten?
Oh, okay.
Is 7
Yeah. Oh,
kindergarten?
yeah. All of them are in kindergarten age.
No, they're all like
That's not even
Preschool.
school age.
no, they're
Yeah,
like
because kindergarten's
No.
from K1 to K5.
what ages though? Like you go
That's
to
what-
start
1
Kindergarten-
to 5.
No, kindergarten's like 5 years old.
Yeah, 5 to 6.
K5 is 5 years old. Yeah, like, but there's like, granted, although depends on
What
the
is
state.
K1?
In
Yeah,
South-
what the
I've
hell?
In
never
South
are you
Carolina,
doing?
like
Before.
in South Carolina, it goes from 1 to 5 is kindergarten.
What
all the
is
way
just
up.
babysitting?
So you go to you go to school at 1 years old.
That's just a
What am I
daycare.
supposed
Yeah,
to
well,
be
you go
learning?
to like a daycare.
Yeah,
at
that's
1 years
daycare.
old.
Don't
Like,
call it K.
It's not
to
really
K,
like
K1 to
but you-
K5.
But you
no,
still
it's
do
daycare.
stuff. You still like have like stuff. It's just you just draw.
So my mom
or,
used
like,
to take me to her
or play with
office.
toys.
Wasn't meaning I was in kindergarten.
No, that's not kindergarten.
No, but I did stuff. I
Because
drew.
like we had a place called like the Sunshine House when I was about like 3 and 4 years old that I went to. I think we went, like, granted, I may not have went there when I was 1 or 2, but I think they took 1 and 2 year olds. They had like a special room for 1 to 2 year olds to play and stuff.
I went before I started kindergarten. I went to a daycare and then a Montessori, and then
What's a Montessori?
kindergarten. It's like a. I actually don't know like the actual definition, but it's like
I just went to this building.
pretty much. And I remember bringing my Barney VHS in so we could like watch the movie in class whatever. And the teacher stole it. I never got it back. They kept it.
What a bitch.
They're like, you don't need this. They're probably playing with it to this day.
I mean, schools are very underfunded and stuff, so probably.
Right. A Montessori school is an environment with plenty of materials for hands-on learning, and children are encouraged to focus on. The Montessori method of education involves children's natural interest in activities rather than formal teaching methods. So it's basically like you go to a place and do activities and stuff, and that's what I remember. We made like s'mores and stuff and arts and crafts. Yeah.
I was until 5. Anybody who was willing to deal with me took care of me. Or I went to my mom's office. Then I went to kindergarten, and that's where I found out I was blind as a bat and got my first pair of glasses.
I had my first pair till I was 8.
I got them at 5. They thought it was because I had I wouldn't let my mom brush my hair, so I had my wild hair in front. I was like that kid with the wild ass hair everywhere. And they thought that's why I couldn't see the board. And I started wearing these like headbands to help pull back my hairline too. And I still couldn't see anything. They're like, okay, there might be an actual problem. And I only had like 50% of my vision. And I learned, actually, this was a couple years ago. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. I learned I was actually supposed to be cross-eyed. This left eye is kind of lazy. And it is my weaker eye. And the eye doctor was like, yeah, this left eye looks like it probably was lazy. Did you ever have to deal with that? I'm like, no, I got glasses really early. She's like, oh, it probably helped correct it pretty soon. She's like, but if you ever take off your glasses and somebody looks, she's like, it'll probably start moving a little bit. I'm like, what? So I learned that like 30 years later, I was supposed to have a lazy eye. Or I do have a lazy eye. It's not, I don't know. I think it got corrected. I'm not entirely sure. I just found that really interesting. You never knew that about myself. But anyway, Rugrats in Paris.
I was looking at the poster of Rugrats Go Wild, and I love how it just looks so photoshopped of like, okay, we're going to put Rugrats on the top, and then, I don't know, they're coming out of a tree or something, and then Thornberry's on the bottom. There, did it.
At least they included
Poster's
Susie in
made.
that one.
Right. I was happy. That's because they realized their mistake of not having her in Rugrats.
That was a mistake. They were in.
Rugrats
That was on purpose. Black people in cartoons was very limited. All right, they were like, "Look, y'all gonna get like some lines on the TV show, but we don't need you in the movie."
Look, at least you got one, okay? Show me even a
And that was
slightly
3
tanned
years
person.
later.
Yeah.
So I had to wait 3 years for Susie to.
I actually remember.
You know what it is?
a
Proud
scene-
Family came out. They're like, "Oh, black people are marketable. Okay, cool. I guess we'll put her in our movie."
And I remember in Rugrats Go Wild, going to the movie theater, and I'm reading on the Wikipedia article. The film used odorama, which allowed people to smell odors and aromas from the film using scratch and sniff cards. And I
bet you it was
remember
all
getting
gross
those.
stuff.
It was, and I remember getting those. They
Mhm.
they put them in the like Burger King version of Happy Meals, and then you would bring them to the movie theater and watch the movie.
That's
And I remember
actually
doing that.
really cute. That's a
What
really
an
good
age.
idea. Yeah, no, that's so
Mhm.
smart. It was very interactive, and in a way that it wasn't disturbing. Because like you
Right.
were,
I mean, it was disturbing for anyone who had them because again, it was always gross stuff. It wasn't
Well,
anything
no,
that was
like,
like,
I
"Oh man,
meant-
it's gonna smell
I
beautiful."
meant like, well, ocean breeze and stuff. I meant like it's not going to be this loud or disruptive because you're just going to have a kid going like
Oh,
this
yeah,
and
yeah.
going. You're not going to have a kid screaming, being like, "Hey, I have the same toy as a toy on the screen" or something like that. It was a way to like subtly keep children quiet because they're too busy inhaling.
It's not gonna be like in '80s
would
movie
keep them busy.
theaters.
Keep them busy. Like,
Like, side note, you ever watch like '80s movies when they're like showing what it is to go to '80s movie theaters, and it's just all this noise of people, like especially in like Scream 2, for example, the opening in Scream 2 where they're watching Stab. And all these people are just they're all in Ghostface costume, which is like, okay, I guess, whatever. But all of them are like, oh, yeah, like as the movie's happening. I'm like, why is all this noise happening? The movie is on. Shut up.
Well, I see that for like things that have like it's a repair, but that was like a premiere of the Scream or the Stab films.
Even if it was, still
like-
shut up. Like, we're trying to watch the movie. We can't hear the movie because all of y'all are just like in a frenzy.
Do you not remember when we did the Harry Potter films? Was it the Harry Potter films all back to
Even
back?
then, people got excited for when things happened, but they didn't like. Also, I wasn't here for the regular Harry Potter films. I was there for Fantastic Beast, which isn't quite the same.
There was one where we did one right after the other. Was that not Harry Potter?
Oh yeah, though I was there for the marathon. I didn't work
Yeah.
it, but I was.
Yeah, the
Working
amount of times you
after
hear
I think.
screaming, there's new character. Hey, it's blah blah blah.
Yeah, but that's like when a character shows up. I'm talking. This is nonstop, like as the whole movie, like from
That-
start to finish. That's different.
I hate going to theaters.
Which
sometimes
nobody does
'cause
that in real life. This is pretend world in movies.
where
I'm just
it's
like,
acceptable to scream.
right, and I'm just like, because what's the movie? The Last Dragon also did the same thing with Bruce Leroy and all them. Where I'm like, there are people, but at least in that movie it's worse because at least in Scream they're watching a movie. You know, they're being noisy about it, but they're watching it. In The Last Dragon, they put a boombox in the middle of the aisle and start breakdancing in the middle of the movie. And then there's a point where you see a screen of Bruce, because it's a Bruce Lee movie they're watching. And Bruce Lee really, it's supposed to be him walking over to fight somebody in the movie, but the close-up makes it look like he's about to walk out the screen and whoop their ass for breakdancing in the middle of his movie. Anyway, Rugrats in Paris is great, and you should watch it.
I have to say, I made a mistake earlier. Bruce Willis played Spike in Rugrats Go Wild, not the first one.
Oh, okay,
Third
and that's
one.
because the daughter could understand them.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And I forgot Tim
That's
Curry
still
played
weird.
Nigel Thornberry, the dad.
Smashing.
Mhm.
Nigel Thornberry.
I miss the Thornberries. Can I watch that? Is that on Paramount Plus? I would watch
It
that.
was always
Yeah.
the Wild.
Mhm.
It is. It is.
Oh,
All
it
of
is.
these shows, Rugrats, Wild Thornberry.
But that's the thing. Rugrats in Paris is on HBO Max.
that
though.
was, that was
That
so
is true.
confusing to me. Like all of the Rugrats movies and all of like the Nickelodeon movies are on HBO Max. Like, how does that make sense? Like, when
maybe
I
they were
first-
contracted before Paramount Plus existed. To
Maybe.
be, on HBO Max first.
they could
like
have been
when I
like
first typed-
partnering.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
When I first
That's
typed
true.
in like how to watch Rugrats in Paris, the first thing that came up was HBO Max, and you would think Paramount Plus would be the first.
Right. That was I thought that too. I was like, not Paramount Plus. I mean, okay, I have both, so it doesn't matter. But okay.
I'm looking up.
That's a show that I would be interested to see a reboot of because of all the crazy stuff that's happened with nature documentary people in real life. I think it'd be interesting to have a Thornsberry reboot and see what they do with it. You know, like what modern day stuff they would do with it. Especially because streaming is such a big thing now. It's like you could be a nature like anybody could be a nature.
You should go on TikTok. TikTok's everything's like that now.
Debbie would definitely have a TikTok, like for sure.
Yeah, admittedly the Wild Thornberrys was probably my least favorite of the like Klasky Kuspo
See, it was
TV
really
shows.
my favorite.
Yeah, but now I think as an adult, I think I would appreciate it more.
I think I feel more sorry for Debbie as an adult if I read back and watch this because I'm like, she
didn't ask for this.
She didn't ask for this. She just wanted to be a teenager. Like, maybe send her to boarding school or something. She doesn't have to be here. Send her to live with her grandparents. Like, you're forcing this child to have a teenager to have like no privacy, all stuck in like an RV, traveling around somewhere where there's
just dealing with Donnie alone is a full-time job.
Absolutely. And like a lot of responsibility was put on her because they're like, we're gonna go off into the wild where we may or may not come back, photographing lions and shit. Watch your younger sister and, you know, the brother who's possibly in the trees. We don't know where he's at right now, but you'll hear him yelling before he jumps you. So like
Yo, did you know Flea played Donnie?
That's what I was just about to say. I was literally like
I did not know that. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
wait.
Flea was the voice. Flea was the voice of Donnie for the TV show too.
From Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah.
That makes sense though. Kind of makes sense.
Awesome. It does make sense, but it's kind of awesome. That's really cool.
The amount of like star power they were able to get back then.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And just like the most random assortment of people. It's like who was like in the writer's room, they were like, you know who would be good? Flea. And they were able to secure him.
I don't think that's how it works. I feel like it's just like, hey, Flea's here. And Flea was like, no. They were like, oh, you know, ooh.
Or
do that
maybe
again.
No.
Like, okay.
You think that makes more sense than what I said?
No, I feel like somebody was a fan of like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and they heard him do something and they're like,
they were a fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers and they were just like,
they came into the writer's room.
Noise.
They like came into the writer's room and be like, guys, I was listening to this band last night. Don't ask how drunk I was, but look what I thought about. Because that's all. Don't try to like tell me like everybody was sober in a child cartoon writing room. Because like y'all were tripping on something to get some of these ideas, and that's got to be it. I feel like sometimes some of it is like when didn't like Daniel Craig just walk on to like the new Star Wars set? It was like I kind of want to be there.
Yeah, he just happened to be there. Yeah, and he was like, "You want to be a stormtrooper?" Like, sure, yeah.
I feel like some of it's kind of like that, where they're like, "Oh yeah, I heard you guys were doing this. Mind if I join in?" And like, yeah, sure. Like, I feel like Tim Curry would do that with the Rugrats movies. They're like, "Hey, you're here to record some of the Thornberrys. Yeah, you busy? We need a little extra sound for this part in Rugrats in Paris. You singing? Cool to do that."
That's the one I was thinking about because when you were talking about Wild Thornberrys is your least favorite. Mine least favorite of that era of cartoons was As Told by Ginger.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of. Yeah, I just couldn't relate.
All of them were horrible. To me.
Hey,
no,
Cat Dog
Rugrats
was fantastic, and Rugrats.
No.
Rocket Power?
I'm saying first off, y'all need to calm. I was talking about As Told by Ginger. All the characters were terrible.
Oh, I thought you meant all
I
the
didn't
shows.
Like, y'all
you should have specified. You just said all of them are terrible as we were talking about the shows.
I didn't like
generally.
Rocket Power. I didn't like Rocket Power.
I
did not like Rocket Power.
I love Rocket Power.
I like the mild version of Rocket Power, which was the Weekenders.
the Great Value version.
The Great Value.
Great Value brand.
the non-spicy version.
Real quick, we're kind of all the way off topic, but what is your top Nickelodeon show?
I would probably have to say either Rugrats or Hey Arnold.
Those good picks.
But I also loved Rocket Power too.
I would probably say the Thornberrys and like SpongeBob. No. Fairly, even though it wasn't in the era, I still love Fairly Odd Parents. Even though that was many years later, not that many. It was the era after that. I'm a big Fairly Odd Parents person.
I want to say mine is Avatar. Like, I want to say it's Avatar: The Last Airbender. SpongeBob definitely close second. Love me some SpongeBob. And Fairly Odd Parents. They're about those two are neck and neck for me, but the one above all of them is Avatar. Just because it was like, you didn't really get a lot of teen-centric cartoons from Nickelodeon. You got either kid stuff, or if it was teens, it was like stuff like Zoe 101, where it was like a teen drama. So to get like a teen action cartoon that wasn't Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom. I did love Danny Phantom.
Was awesome.
Was it?
Danny
was that
Phantom
Nickelodeon?
Was
Nickelodeon?
Yeah, because Butch Hartnett, is that
the same guy from Fairly Odd who did Fairly Odd Parents?
Same person who did Fairly Odd Parents did Danny Phantom.
Oh my god, I forgot about it. I love Danny Phantom.
And there's like a theory out there that Timmy Turner,
Butch Hartman, that's his name.
Mm-hmm. There's a theory out there that Timmy Turner and Danny Phantom. Wait, no, it's Danny Phantom and somebody else of the same person. Is it Timmy Turner?
Well, I mean, they have the same hair, more or less. So
Danny,
but that's just because Butch Hartman has a particular style.
Conspiracy.
I just like the Fairly Odd Parents 4 because it's just like it's a lot of like cartoons where they just let off these little comments that you hear and they don't fully register until like a minute later. Like there's an episode with Fairly Odd Parents where his parents couldn't afford. Were having like a neighborhood show, and his parents couldn't afford such a great magician because they had a kid. So Timmy wishes that he was the best magician in the world. Gets on stage, he's like, "Ladies and barren neighbors," and I was like, "Did you just call all your neighbors barren?" And maybe I was like, "What the hell, man? Picking on some people's insecurities, aren't you?" But it was like little stuff like that where it was like little quips where it was like it's just like, okay, you really just said that in like the cartoon show and got away with it. Good for you. I respect that.
The Danny Phantom I just liked more because it was more my sensibility. I love superheroes, so, and I loved all the villains. All the villains in Danny Phantom were always my favorite.
I like how they made all
the lunch lady.
The box ghosts. I love the box ghosts.
The box.
They weren't ever willing to vanquish him either, or like send him back. It's like, oh, dude, come on, what are you gonna do? I'm rattling the boxes.
I love that time when they go in the future though, and Box Ghost is like jacked and like a badass. I was like, see, y'all wasn't thinking about Box Ghost, but now he's become a problem. Y'all should have took him down early.
Remember Angry Beavers?
Yeah, see, I was really into Angry Beavers. I remember it. I just was not really into
I watched
the show.
it a little bit, but it wasn't like the highlight show for me.
Yeah.
I kind of remember what they look like, but I don't think I ever watched the show.
It is in the same vein for me of like Cat Dog, where I was like, I like this show, but it's not really what I'm like looking forward to watching.
I loved Cat Dog. I was disturbed by them though. And I love
the people who are like, how did they poop?
Yeah, see, I was that kid. I was like, there's a lot of like inaccuracies about what's going on here. They're like, it's a cartoon. Don't think about it. But like,
it's just like
they eat one thing. Yeah, they eat one thing.
Where does it go?
Yeah, where's everything going? I was a big
goes to one stomach.
What was Coward the Courage the Cowardly
Network.
Dog? That's Cartoon Network. Oh, he's my all-time favorite.
Which
mine was
coming
Dexter's
back,
Lab.
They say? Or they're having a movie?
I think they were trying. They've
been talking about it, but I don't want them to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want them to do it.
Why not?
They ruined so many things because they try to make
it
them
could work
more
out. Like
modern.
I had doubts when they were like, we're gonna do an Invader Zim movie, which was animated like the original cartoon. But they were like, yeah, we're bringing back Invader Zim, and I was like, no, don't do that.
I never got
into. And then when the movie
Invader
came
Zim.
out, it was good. I loved Invader Zim. I thought it was great. It definitely was.
Thought it was
very
annoying.
dark.
I thought it was
I never
annoying.
got
For its
into it
time.
I thought it was
very
annoying.
dark, but I loved Invader Zim.
I thought it was
And
straight up
Gurr
annoying.
is still fan favorite. Everyone loves Gurr.
Sure.
I'm
Sure.
gonna sing the Doom song.
I'll go with that.
Doom. Love
You
Gurr.
you look like you're having a pleasant time, so I'm gonna disagree.
Love Invader Zim. It's so good. It was the same time I was watching Billy and Mandy. Good Pictures of Billy and Mandy.
My mom used to call me Mandy.
I can see you as Mandy as a kid.
Yeah. That's not a surprise.
Well,
to
this has
anybody.
been a nice cartoon retrospective. In fact, we should do another cartoon retrospective. We did
should
one before
actually.
behind the Usher station. And
Jimmy
so we should do one
Neutron?
now.
That
Yeah.
crossover.
Yeah,
Jimmy
right.
Timmy Power Hour. They did 3 of those.
Yeah. I love that in like the second one they become like besties and Cindy's all pissed because she's like, wait, weren't you guys fighting over me? No, he's my homeboy now. We're all good.
We're friends.
Yeah.
You know, bros for hoes. Shut up. Like we're
They're
busy.
like 10.
Yeah, but that didn't stop them from having that like still that like rivalry of like
I meant
but Cindy.
I meant the whole bros from over hoes things.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe-
They
Maybe use a different phrasing for 10-year-olds. Anyway, yeah, that I think that would be fun because like it's fun to watch old cartoons. Not only enjoying that nostalgic, like with Rugrats in Paris, seeing all the same with Reptar, and just being like, I remember wanting a toy just like Reptar like that when I was younger. But it's also seeing the nostalgic of like the time period it's set in. Because like a couple times I caught myself thinking,
you know what we should do? Because last time we talked about. Sorry.
Well, it's just nobody
No, go
talks
ahead.
about like Nickelodeon cartoons as much as they talk about Disney cartoons or some of the Cartoon Network cartoons, except like the mega popular ones like SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents. But there's a lot of Nickelodeon cartoons
Right.
that
What
don't get like as much shine.
What I think we should do is because last time we talked about cartoons, but I feel like this time we should maybe like each of us can pick like 3 episodes of our favorite like Nick cartoon or cartoons or in general or whatever. And we can watch those. And it'd be like the length of a movie. Watching one movie.
I would definitely go for the Wild Thornberries. I feel like I remember that show being, but I'm a little worried because I'm like I said, I remember watching that show and like loving it a lot. But as an adult, just now remembering some of it, I already feel for like Debbie, and I'm like, here's
Ooh,
all the
I
parent
know.
neglect that you did.
You could watch like first episodes of our cartoons and rewatch them again and see if we would still watch those shows now. old
But sometimes
cartoons
the
we
first
like.
episode.
Yeah,
can
I don't
be-
do first episodes.
What do you mean you don't do? What do you? What do you mean you don't do first episodes? Yes, you
'Cause
do.
The first.
Because when you want to
episode
watch a
sometimes-
show on streaming, you will watch that first episode. You might not,
Not
be
always.
entertained by
But
it.
a lot of times the first
immediately.
episode doesn't give you the meat and potatoes.
Then
of
it's a
the actual
failed show. Because that's the whole point of a pilot episode.
I
That's the
often
point of a
actually,
first
I
episode.
actually skip a lot of pilot episodes when I'm watching shows. I find it.
And also, there's some really great pilots. Westworld's pilot, so good. That's why it's a shame the show failed.
So it was a good pilot, but a bad show.
No, it was a great show until the 3rd season, when they lost their minds and were trying too hard to try and like make the audience not guess what's happening in the internet age where all people do is speculate if you release your show week to week. But it was a great show. It was really good. Those first 2 seasons, solid, super solid.
Anyway, going back to cartoons.
But regardless, yeah, but stay tuned for that when we decide to do that. But in the meantime, any final thoughts on Rugrats in Paris before we get out of here? We've been going for a while.
Loved it.
I thought it was sweet and cute and nostalgic, and then just like a nice trip down memory lane.
It's an A+ movie. Watch you some Rugrats in Paris, audience. Comment below if you have seen it and tell us what you think. And comment below also what your favorite childhood cartoons. Any age. For us, it's a lot of those 90s, 2000s cartoons. But maybe for you, it's like stuff that came out in the 2000s later. Like, Adventures of Gumball, Adventure Time, Fanboy and Chum Chum, Adventures of Iron Man, like all that stuff. Comment below. Tell us what cartoons you were into when you were a kid. And yeah, socials. Here we go. Jonathan, go.
You can follow me at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. You can also follow us at the First Ones to Die on all of your social media platforms. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to us. We'd greatly appreciate it. We'd also appreciate if you're listening on audio to rate us 5 stars and give us a review. It would help us out immensely. Also, if you have any feedback, if you want to ask us a question, anything like that, maybe suggest a podcast topic, email us, thefirstones2die@gmail.com, and we will respond. Alex.
You can find me. You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram and on TikTok, and on the podcast TikTok, The First Ones to Die, where I post little clips of the episodes, things we may be watching, and my own little mini reviews of just shows or movies I have somehow stumbled into. What about you, Jerome?
You can find me at @JeromeRat on Instagram, as well as at RoboZooMedia and at Jerome_the_show to see other stuff I am working on. And if you want to get extra content that you can't get on the audio streaming platforms, check out the YouTube channel. You can find all types of stuff like mini reviews, book reviews, gaming content, vlogs, all types of stuff we've done for the First Ones to Die channel. So check out that First Ones to Die podcast channel. See all that good stuff. Tune in next week for something. We're figuring it out. We got plans. And so, maybe it might be the cartoon retrospective. Who knows? Only one way to find out. Be here next week, next Monday. See what we got cooking for you. But other than that, you folks have a great night or day or morning, whenever you're listening to this. And we'll see you for the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Go on over to the YouTube channel at The First Ones to Die to see all the fun stuff we got going on here, like mini reviews, book reviews, gaming videos, vlogs, all types of stuff.
Please follow us at The First Ones to Die everywhere. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe.